Hello, podcast legends. Welcome back. This one, episode 24, is an inspirational story that I just had to share with you guys. It's a lady I've known for many years through the fitness world. She's up in Stockport. Her name is Marita Moore, and she sounds a lot more authentic Stockport than I did just then. She is inspirational in so many ways, but really what I've got her on for today is the big story of her life that she's sharing with us and other people around where she lives about her horrendous experience at school with bullying. She was bullied throughout school, as you'll hear as we go through this, through primary school, through secondary school. It led to issues with her own mental health, her mother's mental health, and ultimately gave her a big challenge that many of us won't appreciate fully, but we will appreciate hurdles that we have in life and feeling like there's no way out, and all of a sudden an opportunity arises, hopefully as it did for Marita, and you come out the other side fighting and using methods of positivity with your mindset, your exercise and nutrition, as she reveals today. So I hope it's helpful. I hope it leaves you with a spring in your step as you go about your day to day. As ever, let us know what you thought, and I hope it helps. Marita, I've said it right, Marita?
Yes.
I always worry about your name because I've never met a Marita before.
Everybody does that, and it's a Maria with a T in it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Marita, Maria with a T.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Brilliant. Pleasure to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you.
Are you? Tell us, because I know you very well. We've known each other for a little while. Where are you? Who are you? What are you doing?
So, I'm in Stockport. I'd like to say sunny Stockport, but it's not.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah, and I'm the owner of Lotus Fitness Academy, so I run that.
The outdoor boot camps.
Yes.
Is that the main?
Outdoor boot camps, and we have lots of other stuff. So we go off and do lots of work in the community on different areas as well.
And Hellish Hill. What was it you called it? The things you do? You make your clients
Horror Hill.
Horror Hill, that was it.
So we have Horror Hill, 5 Trees of Doom, Steps to Hell, Steps to Heaven. Lots of nice little things to go and work out on.
We know you as the lady that does it with a smile, the hard exercise with a smile. That's you, isn't it?
Yeah, that sums me up.
It does, doesn't it? So we're here. We're going to talk today about you, your inspirational upbringing, how you've sort of, I would say, turned your life around. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Totally. And how that can, as you do today, you share that to help other people improve their mindset and make better things with their life, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
So tell us the story of you growing up as a young girl was it in Stockport?
No, well, it was in a place called Oldham. Don't ever go there. I'm kidding. It's Greater Manchester. It's the same kind of place. But yeah, so I was born there. I was probably quite a lively child, shall we say. I had lots of opportunities. So I did performing arts and learnt lots of instruments. I did guitar, violin, flute, all that kind of stuff. I danced. I did loads of hobbies. So it was quite lively.
Could never tell from when I see you now, mate.
No. Yeah, and then I guess my story kind of starts when I went to school. And at school, I was probably a little bit different from everyone else in my school because I had so many opportunities. My parents weren't wealthy or anything, by the way. I think they just liked me out of the house a lot. Expel that energy. So I was a bit different in the sense that I did lots of things. So I became different to the group. I was also dyslexic as well. So I didn't really pick things up the same way as other people did, like spelling and grammar and reading. I was very good at solving problems. Little things like you'd have to read on your table and it'd go around the table, and I knew I couldn't read straight off because the words would jump up and down. So I used to memorize it, and then the teacher thought I was like really clever because I'd memorized it and I wasn't. That was just my way of coping with not being able to read on the spot. But yeah, over time at primary school, this kind of like highlighted that was a bit different from everybody. And then that's where I started to get bullied. So
At primary school, you said? Primary school?
yeah, primary school. Now this was at this stage, it was little things like pushing in the corridors or name calling or and it didn't bother me so much either. I can remember thinking that I was just different. I felt like I was different. So I tried to focus on the stuff that I was good at, like I was really good at swimming and my acting, things like that. So I applied everything into that. But that kind of took me further away from the group. So the bullying then stepped up. I guess if you try and push someone enough and you after a reaction, you'll either continue that, won't you, or you'll get annoyed because there's not a reaction. So I probably created this kind of annoyance with them. So it kind of really ramped up. And unfortunately for me, when I went to secondary school, there was 5 people from my primary school that went there, and these were the 5 main bullies. So
there were quite a few. When you say there's 5, so how at primary school we're talking a lot of people, not just one.
Yeah, there were like 3 main sets of people, like groups of people. One was the really naughty group, so they'd just get involved with anything that was going, but they didn't really care. There was the group that was the bullies, who were very clever. I remember them being, because they'd get the naughty group to do their work for them, if that makes sense. But they wouldn't ever get caught doing stuff. And then there was the other group that I guess you'd call the geeky group that just didn't get involved in anything. So out of those groups, it was the group of my bullies that kind of followed me to my secondary school. So first year was really difficult because you're in a new environment anyway, and you're going through that phase, aren't you, where you're a bit unsure who you are. And then I had this big chunk of people who was telling everybody what I was like in their perception. So quite quickly, there just seemed to be this bigger group forming of people that didn't like me. And then just in the middle of all this as well, I actually had my appendix burst. So I had like quite a lot of time off school. I think I had about 6 months out of my first year. I had a big chunk of time. So by the time I got back to school, they were already cemented in their new friendships. And I was again an outsider to it. Now, I think that's when the bullying kind of completely went off rail. Like it went to a whole different level. Like we're talking, they'd wait for me at the bus stop and I'd get off the bus and they'd stone me on my way to school and then on my way home as well, which actually hurts. So I don't know if you've ever experienced being hit by a rock, but it's quite painful. And then you get this kind of fear because you don't want to tell the teachers because then you regress, but you also know you're not in a safe environment, so you're kind of caught. And you're also I internalized a lot of it because I didn't know what I had done to make everyone hate me so much. We then had things like it got to the point where I'd actually end up with broken bones. I had my face smashed through a glass phone booth. I'm trying to think of some of the specific incidents.
What age is this? Is this the first year of secondary school?
So this has now gone from 11 years to the age of 14. So in them years, it had gradually got worse. Yeah, I mean, pretty much first year was pretty much being poorly. So it was more second year, I guess, that these things started to happen.
And at this point, you've not told anyone? I mean, by the sound of it?
No. Well, I hadn't told anyone up until going home with specific injuries. So I'd go home with bruises that I'd say that was from falling over in the playground or little things like that. You become pretty hardened. Like, I mean, I can remember times being stood there while people are hitting and punching me and not hitting them back. And you're like, it's like you go into a meditative state. So you obviously it hurts, but you don't feel it at the time. So you just stand there and let them do whatever they're doing and think eventually it'll pass. But that's obviously not healthy for you as a person doing that. But I didn't know that. So I'm here at school doing all this. And then my mum's dealing with the emotional side of all this as well. And I don't think my mum felt like she was getting help from the school. I mean, it got quite bad where she brought the local MPs in, and they had meetings with the governors of the school and the rest of it. But during all this journey, my mum started to lose her mental health. So, and I didn't notice that at the time. I was a child anyway, so I guess she probably wouldn't. But I can remember the first times that I started to notice there was something wrong with my mum was when so I got to the point where I tried to commit suicide, and the reason I probably wasn't successful in it, I took a load of tablets. I can remember doing it, and I can remember thinking, you take these pills and you die. You go to sleep and you die. That isn't what happens at all. So you're then thinking, right, okay, nothing's happening, and you're kind of waiting for something to happen, and so you just get on with your day so nobody notices what you've done. And part of my day was going to school, but I spent most of it in the toilets because I was being sick and I didn't really know what else to do. And a girl walked into the toilet, and it was actually a girl that hung about with some of the bullies. And she apologised to me and said that she didn't like what was going on. She didn't think it was fair. And up until that point, I thought that it was me, that I was the problem, so I needed to remove myself. And especially the school saying, go to a different school as well. It's all okay. If I'm not here, that won't be an issue. But having her say that was the first time someone had kind of acknowledged there might be something there that's not right. I think she was telling me that she was too afraid to kind of stand up to them, so that was why she'd just go along with them. And through that, and the girl probably doesn't know to this day, but she probably saved my life, because I then went home and told my mum what I'd done. And my mum was able to rush me into hospital, and they did amazing stuff, and I'd not left with any kind of harm from what I did. Knowing what I know now, it's quite a slow and painful death. You don't just die there. You kind of have like renal failure and everything. So I didn't really equate all that.
All we can talk about now is how you've learnt from that.
Yeah.
You know, what is it that's probably best to come from that? Because there must be some almost good that's come from this.
My life wouldn't be what it is today, which is amazing, had I not been through that. And part of it is you know, the whole essence of lotus is a lotus flower that has to grow, because it's the more mud and horribleness in the water, the better the flower blooms. And that sums up what my life had been. So there was all this kind of turmoil, and it went on further than that, because I became a self-destructive young teenager. I did everything. You know, there were drugs, there were alcohol, there was every possible way you could destroy yourself. I did. And somebody gave me an opportunity. So it was really weird. I was working at a gym, and someone asked me, did I want to go and work with children in care? And I was interested, because I'd been a child that had a destructive nature. But I was also shocked that they'd asked me. And they obviously didn't have any idea about the turmoil that I'd gone through at this point. Now, they don't just set you off to work with children with behaviour difficulties or child protection issues. Like, they don't just put you in that and leave you to it. They put you on loads of training beforehand, or this particular company did. So while I was going through all this training, I started to learn that actually the way that I was reacting was perfectly normal for what I'd been through. And that was okay. And accepting that was a big thing, because then accepting that meant that I could then go and get help for the stuff that I was suffering. So it was like, had that opportunity not arisen, I don't know where I'd be. But because it did, it kind of trained me for what I do today, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And you can see how it's been, like I say, a good and empowering thing for you now as you speak to your clients, and what I hear you do.
Yeah.
What you've learned through that whole like horrendous experience, which it is.
Yeah.
But are you saying, sorry, it was just that one lucky opportunity, as it were, that's flipped in
Yeah.
your head, and you went, oh,
yeah,
I'm okay.
I think everyone gets this opportunity. I think everyone has a point in their life where they can choose to go this way or that way. Not everybody takes that way. Sometimes you'll get another opportunity later on and you'll come back. So I think life gives you lots of opportunities, and I think when it's right for you, you will see that that's the right opportunity, if that makes sense. And that was the right opportunity for me at that time. It then led on to kind of me getting healthy. So I wasn't healthy at that point. I was physically healthy. I always kept my fitness. I always kept my studies up. But mentally, I was a mess. So, and that's kind of my message. That is like my story, my truth, I guess, because knowing if you take care of everything, but you don't take care of your mental health, then that's where you start to struggle. And I think that's where we don't, because it's such a taboo as well. People don't like the idea of having mental health issues, and generally 1 in 4 of us will get them, and that's even if nothing ever happens. Like I had an incident that happened that caused mine, but some people can just wake up one day and have that hormonal imbalance and have that mental health issue. And we know that we'll see. If you look overweight, you'll think I need to work on my body a bit, or I need to eat better. You'll see that it's in the media everywhere. We'll encourage people to do that, but nobody sits down and think, I'm feeling a bit anxious today. Perhaps I need to go and work on my mental strength. They just don't do it. So, and that's kind of, those are the things that have made me who I am today, and I know the benefit of it. So that's what I believe that journey at the beginning was all about. It's kind of showing me that this is what I'm supposed to do in life. I'm supposed to help people work on that mental health as well as the physical and fitness.
How do you help people at the moment? I know you're doing boot camps in the park, but I'm sure conversations like this don't happen too often mid-burpee, or maybe they do.
We do have some interesting conversations. So my whole thing is I wanted to set up a group of people that come to me for exercise, which they do. And yes, we train them on physical fitness, but we're also filling them full of messages about being yourself, being unique. I'm telling them what's different about them than other people and why that's good. So we're filling them full of that. And then also we have lots of groups that we're in. So we have WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups and various stuff like that. And I encourage them to help each other, not just on fitness things, but for instance, someone might lose the job. I'll encourage them to ask for help in the group, and or somebody might, I don't know, be having a row with a partner or whatever. And I'll encourage the positivity that goes in a group of people that want to better themselves. So that's one way that we do it through the boot camps. And then we also do, so I do a lot of talks. We work with a lot of charities. I currently work with Mind at the moment as well, doing a lot of going out there, talking to people that are suffering, telling them that you can come from a really horrible, gritty place and be somebody, because I have, and I'm nothing special. I'm just me, I'm just myself, and that was enough to get me from there to here. And then we do lots of work around building up the 3 factors. We call it men, look after your men, but it's mindset, exercise, and nutrition. So don't just focus on the exercise and nutrition, focus on that mindset too, because it underpins everything. So that's what we're currently doing. And children as well, we go into nurseries, we teach them from a very young age. So we'll do fun and games, fitness side. But then we're also talking to them about, tell me 5 things that are good about you today. And if they learn from that age to actually, because we don't, do we, as a society? If I asked you to name 5 good things about yourself, Frank, could you do it on the spot?
Oh no, I'd have to Google that. Yeah.
But we should, because there is 5 good things about you. So there's more than 5 good things about you.
I like that game. I like that. I might try that with the girls.
Yeah.
We do actually. Yeah, we do. I saw that from somewhere. Someone had taught me something about having that every night before bed. You say, "What did you do that was good today? Who did you make smile today?" and stuff like that. We change the story. It's good. It's a nice thing that I don't know whether it's going to work in the long run, but it seems right.
It sets them on the right mindset, so it will. We do with the clients, so we'll get. Not all of them choose to do it, but the opportunity's there. First thing you do when you wake up in the morning, write 3 things you're grateful for, which is really hard when nothing's happened. But there's always something you're grateful for. The fact that you've got food in the cupboard downstairs, or your bed was nice and warm, or you had a good sleep. There's always something. And that sets you on a positive mindset for that day. So if something happens, you're coming at it from a different angle because you're already positive. And then at the end of the day, 3 things that you're grateful for. So that's 3 things that happened that day. You might want to pin that down to maybe one thing, but if you can focus on something good that's happened, that's going to set you off in thinking from a different way. That's the difference between me as a 14-year-old girl trying to commit suicide to a 38-year-old woman, with my own little empire, is that I think positively about a situation instead of negatively. And it's hard to switch yourself around to that because we're naturally predisposed to think negatively. Because you think back to hunter-gatherer days, you're alert, aren't you, for danger? So it's natural. If you can think positive, you can make that day better.
And it could start with those 3 things in the morning for someone listening today. They could do that right now, couldn't they? They could sit there right now, write down 3 things they're grateful for, and get that habit going. And that could be a start, couldn't it?
Yeah, I'd love to hear them as well. People's gratefuls are amazing. The smaller, the better. Don't think big, think small.
And look after your men.
Yes, look after your men.
I'm going to tell Katie that one. I won't tell her that it means mindset exercise nutrition. I'll leave it like that. I love that though, because we're about to crack on another 6-week group, and I'm introducing nutrition now. So we've always had the exercise and the mindset, but it is about that. And I like how you wrapped it up as always thinking of those elements, because they all play a part, don't they, in how we feel at the end of the day. Which is why, when you see people running around the park with you, giving it large, doing squats, they're there for, like you said, to better themselves, to feel better. So
yeah. And the amount of people that will come over to, everyone says when they come to join, will people laugh at me in the park or passers by? What will they think? And every single conversation that I have with somebody that's outside the group is, they're amazing. I wish I had the confidence to do that. I've never had a person come up to me saying, oh, look at them over there, and laugh at them. They've all said really positive things. So, and it's perception, isn't it, of what you feel of the situation. So,
and in yourself why you're there. So that's what I always say to Mike. Who cares if someone is laughing? That's their issue, not yours. You're in there. You're doing your positive things with your tribe, your vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
We're trying to do the same here. I'm still watching you on the Instagram and all that stuff. Obviously, I'll put your links around, my dear, so people who aren't in Stockport. How was that? Stockport.
Stockport.
Terrible.
I haven't because I'm from Oldham. I haven't nailed the Stockport accent, but I always get picked about because I say things like up to town and.
And to pub. Do you go to the pub or do you go to the pub?
Pub.
You go, good.
And birthday.
Birthday. That's different.
So I always get my little Oldham still comes through.
I'll keep it in there, mate. It's your roots. And I'll keep attempting it. So thanks so much for sharing that, my dear. I will point people to you to hopefully, if they want some help, they can get in touch.
Thanks
I'm
for having
sure.
me on.
Oh, always a pleasure.
It's really good. I've been catching up with your videos as well. I need to try the feet moving different. I cannot move my toes different.
Because do you know Claire as well? I feel like she's a mutual,
Yeah, she's lovely, Claire.
So she's done me over there, and my feet are actually now functioning. I won't put them on the screen.
I didn't know that was possible, so I'm going to try this.
I love stuff like that though, because then when you're like listening or watching anything like that, you've got to try, haven't you? And it was happening while she was chatting. I was like, I can't do that, and it was that's why I went for it. Feet with Frank or whatever. I really went for it.
I thought it was something genetic that you were born with. Like your tongue, you can roll your tongue or not. But yeah, you've actually managed. You've managed to do the feet separate, and you couldn't at first. So I'm intrigued.
You can train it, and she says my pelvic floor is going to love me for it. So it's paid off.
I'm going to get onto that one then. Thanks for the tip, Claire.
Have a good day, Marita. Thanks again.
Brilliant. Thank you, Frank.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.
You've been listening to the Fit with Frank podcast. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button right now so you can be first to be notified of new episodes released every week, where Frank dives deep, chats with some of the finest guests across the health and fitness industry, alongside inspiring stories from people just like you, so we can inspire and hopefully empower you to lead a happier, healthier lifestyle. Have fun.